I would just like to say I apologize for the uh, highly offensive, threatening, and violent statements that I made. They were not in all seriousness. They were in jest, and I authentically hope you know I mean no ill intention towards you. And if we were to ever meet in person, I'd certainly prefer being a friendly person to you and kind. Uh, Finding out what we agree on, what we disagree on. I know we agree a lot on Israel and Zionism and genocide as a whole, in all authenticity. Um, and we agree on scientific rigor, although we disagree about uh, the ways that you can apply scientific rigor and that system of the scientific method and peer review and such. Um, in my opinion, it's something that you can apply to spiritual and metaphysical studies through ritual and occult ceremonial magic. And that's something that you obviously disagree with. And I'm not trying to, you know, talk bad on you for saying that and having that opinion and that position. I just think that it's, don't knock it till you try it kind of thing. Uh, yeah, it was, I think that's about it. Um, Also, I did not mean when I was talking about the astral cuckoldry stuff. I did not mean that as like you and your wife are literally like. I was not saying I even fantasize about that. I never have, never will. What I was saying is that you know, uh, I don't know, maybe on some higher plane of existence, uh, that is something we do. I don't know. I don't care. You know, yeah. And I think that's an epistemic humility thing, where I was intentionally poking fun at y'all, but I was also complimenting her at the same time. I was not intending that as like a hostile thing though, or like a um, you know, violent fantasy or whatever, in the slightest. And also, I want to say as well, I did intentionally actively contradict myself repeatedly, as I suspect you did too, in seeing that from me. Uh, so yeah, love you. I like your content. I do watch it all the way through usually, especially when it's stuff that I don't know. Uh, I'm in a lot of cases I don't know the specific wording of certain things, but I do know, like the generalized systems thereof. Like it's mostly because I've dealt with wildlife, I've dealt with language, I've dealt with molecular biology. Uh, I mean, I have a baseline level of schooling um, and personal interest in science as well. Uh, I'm trying to cover all my bases. I'm not sure what else I could say. I think that's about all I got to say. Um, Anyways, sorry, Dave. I didn't mean to scare you. Uh, I hope we can set all this aside and be friends, because we have common, we like common people in the streaming space, in the content creation space and influencer spaces. Uh, and, I do have specific critiques of you that, you're not consistent about like edutainment stuff and that you diminish the quality and necessity for edutainment while doing it yourself, and that's fine. I mean, I like that about your content. It's entertaining, if not a little surface level, um, and that's good. I mean, people need that, uh, to get a baseline introduction into science. Uh, Good stuff. Thank you for watching. I'm sorry again. I apologize profusely. And I will say, I I do continue and maintain that like spiritual enslavement is a real thing. People do it to each other all the time, and that there's many such cases of it. Uh, Now, does that mean that you have the right to degrade and beat up and hurt your uh, spiritual lessers? No, no, not in the slightest. It's one of the most disgusting authoritarian things about spirituality and religion is when that happens. It's yeah, I mean, it's just the nature of metaphysical truth that that kind of paradigm replicates itself across ages. And it's something that I hope we can work towards creating a better version of within this current new aeon. Um, and I think that is such like the case is that the fractaline self symmetry of the universe is self correcting, at least in part, uh, in these ways through negative and positive reinforcement as well as negative and positive what's the word I'm looking for examples where like Crowley was notoriously abusive and terrible and narcissistic and crazy, but he was also quite the opposite at the same time. Um, and then Terence McKenna, he was better about that stuff. He was much more of the positive and much less of the negative. Robert Anton Wilson, same. Uh, Someone else, like I'll give you an example off YouTube. Two people actually. Third Eye Tyrone, just a great example. He's awesome. His channel uses philosophy, metaphysics, and science to create a transformative message for those with the ears to hear. Then another one, Ola Veritas. These are two specific African American creators that I genuinely like. One is a Thelemite herself, and I love her. She's great. Um, I just she's a fantastic woman from what I've seen, and she is a wise, just great. Who else? I'm trying to find. I want to find other people of different races and Mavis Lynn. She's another Thelemite. Um, Another Thelemite that is like I think she's non-binary. She may not have disclosed that her gender identity, and I don't want to misgender her, but I think she's non-binary. She's trans. Is she? I don't know. I don't know. I don't. Maybe she just identifies as queer. I don't gender queer. Um, then another one that just came up. Uh,
Hi.
this is a I don't know what race she is. I don't think it matters really. Scarlet Star Sanctum. She's great. I haven't really. I just subbed to her. I didn't really. Um, I mean, one thing I will say that I felt kind of hurt about like the video uh, Dave did, and I hope that you'll apologize at least in the comments to this video, and I'll pin it if you do. That I felt like you were bashing, minority religions for being weird. Yeah, and I historically we've already dealt with so much. Like there were Thelemites that went through the Holocaust. They survived the Holocaust. Uh, Grady McMurtry, I think. Uh, Grady McMurtry. Yeah. Was it Grady McMurtry? No. It was, I'll look it up. Thelemites. And that's not to say, like, it's not the oppression Olympics. You know, we made it out easier because we were typically not, you know, racial minorities or religious minorities that were broadly considered targets of the mass killing, the intentional, horrific genocide. We were perceived as occult competitors, you know, magical adversaries and interlocutors, rather than like people to be systematically exterminated. I mean, as well as Freemasons were also suppressed. Numerous esoteric groups. Carl Germer, yep. I mean, he is the most famous example of a Elamite. And then there were other Thelemic communities and contacts, so like Martha Kunzel, the Panzer Lodges. Yeah, it's a fascinating history. I know you may feel like you don't have time to learn about a minority religion such as ours. You only have time to, you know, slap us as weird, and say, don't even think about it to your audience. But, you know, we consider ourselves scientifically minded people as well. And we hope that, I hope that, you know, I can create a better image of myself and others in the future. Um, Although we may never fully be able to have a normal view or vision from the outside world due to the, uh, I mean, literal blood ritual, you know, like that. Um, yeah, I mean, the Mass of the Phoenix is the Mass of the Phoenix, man. It's it's one of those things. Like, would you say that the Aztec religions were inherently bad beyond the like if it was like a soul practitioner of an Aztec folk religion that did something similar to me, would you feel the same way about them? Um, or like a Mayan, or yeah, it's yeah, it's a fascinating discussion. I don't think you would. I think it was purely the character that I was putting on for you that resulted in you being so uh, adversarial. It was, you know, golden rule stuff. I was adversarial to you because I wanted you to be adversarial to me. Um, yeah, like I will say, I do think that the Aztec and Mayan blood sacrifice, like human sacrifice aspect of their religion, very bad, very bad. Although I do wonder sometimes if there is a legitimacy to it. You know, like the not in the literal, the world is constantly being reborn and recreated in a cycle where like the sun literally dies and comes back to life. Although there is, you know, Near Eastern scripture belt based religious precedent for such a perspective in like the Mithra, Jesus, uh, uh, Horus, uh, who else? Dionysus. Also the Indian aspects, so like Inanna and Ishtar in Mesopotamia, Ugaritic, Baal, Mesoamerica, Quetzalcoatl. I mean, yeah, Osiris. Yeah, I mean, it's I don't know. Maybe there is something to it. Maybe there's not. It's just a fascinating theological thing to think about. Um, and that, like, yeah, I mean, if there were some kind of precedent to feed some kind of engine of creation and existence and destruction, where like the human sacrifice of the Mesoamericans was not just legitimate but justified in a grand metaphysical scale, which is really dark and disturbing and messed up to think about, even. But it's important to think about nonetheless. Then, I don't see why, cutting yourself in a ritualistic blood magic scenario would be all that, necessary to frown upon, given that contemplation and yeah, you know. Anyways, I'm dragging on. I'm running on the video. I'm sorry. Hopefully you accept my apology. I would accept yours preemptive. I accept yours preemptively if you are going to give one. Um, yeah. Hope you have a good day, Dave. I like your content. I'll say that again. Um, bye.